Hey Danny, how you doing, man?
I'm well, Lewis. How are you?
I am exceptionally well, because today we're doing something a little bit different, aren't we? We're taking a cheeky departure from the films and TV that we normally do. We're talking about something a bit different.
Yes, we are. We're talking about objectively the
Yes.
greatest game of all time.
Yes, objectively, because our opinions are fact. As we both know.
They absolutely are. You don't even need to say opinion. You just need to say what we're about to say is a fact.
Yes, that's true. Everything that I say is a fact. Yep.
Yep, definitely. It's a
Pineapple on
departure.
pizza is the future.
Fuck
Fact.
off. It's a departure from the Nugget of Bullshit that we normally do. We thought we'd come together on a unified front and no deviation from each other's own personal opinions, and we're going to say what the greatest game is and why we think that, aren't we?
If you want, listeners, you can chime in here, because we're going to do what we're going to do. This is a difficult task for people as thick as we are. We're going to do a countdown, and then we're going to say the game, and because we both know it's the same game, obviously, so we're going to say the exact same words at the exact same time. So you, dear listener, can think about what is obviously the objectively best video game of all time, and then you can say it when we say ours. And then we'll all agree, and we'll all go our separate ways.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
3, 2,
1.
Stardew
Fallout
Valley.
New Vegas. What?
Sorry, Danny. I think there must be something wrong with my headphones. You did say Stardew Valley, didn't you?
I no idea what that is. It sounds like a dish. No, I said Fallout New Vegas, obviously.
Well, I think you must be mistaken, of course, because Stardew Valley is, of course, the greatest game of all time. Are you mispronouncing it, or was it released under a different name?
What the fuck is Stardew Valley? What is that?
Well, as we stated at the start, our opinions are facts.
Lewis,
so it
we've
is
been
the greatest
rehearsing
game
this
of all time.
We've been rehearsing this for fucking weeks, and you dropped this shit bomb on me. Like, what is?
Talk about my shit bomb. What about your shit bomb?
What do you mean?
What's Fallout New Vegas? What's wrong with the old Vegas?
Only the best game of all time. Okay, that's
I really
what it
don't
is.
think so, and I would like to prove to you at great length in an incredibly obnoxious video that you are wrong and I am right.
Oh, really? Well, I'm going to do the exact same after you relegated to
dick.
10 minutes each.
Yeah. Dick.
Yeah, well, and do you know what? Just because this definitely isn't planned and I'm definitely not editing this, I think that I feel a massive, big, exciting intro coming on right about now.
Standing there alone, the ship is waiting, all systems are go. Are you sure? Control is not convinced, but the computer has the evidence.
Okay, so Danny is clearly wrong about what he believes to be the greatest game of all time, because I know it, and you know it, and everybody in the world knows it, that Stardew Valley is, in fact, the greatest game of all time. I mean, I've got a list over here. That's how prepared I am. You've got the vibe, you've got the characters, you've got the mechanics. It's all just such a good game, and it's so gorgeous too. I know that some of my opinions on this are going to be subjective, but I do think there are several things that Stardew Valley does objectively well. Okay, so we've got a couple of big things I really like, we've got a couple of little things I really like, and together we're going to high five, and we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together, one by one thing at a time. Big thing one, the vibe. Okay, so I know we're starting off with a confusing one, but just go with it, okay? I think all games have a vibe. You know what I mean? If you're playing Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that, then the vibe is like aggressive and murder heavy. And if you're playing Cooking Mama, it's much more chilled out and you're making like sushi and cakes and stuff like that. And both of those things are down to the vibe rather than what's actually happening. There are instructions on the screen, and in Call of Duty it's kill this guy, and in Cooking Mama it's bake this cake. But at the end of the day, the only thing that really separates those two things is the vibe. I know this is a weird, confusing thing to start off with, but I genuinely think it makes sense. You step into a world where everything is real, in terms of the role-playing aspect of it. Your actions have consequences because you can see that they have consequences. In a game like Call of Duty, kill this guy. You don't kill him, and then the mission ends and you start again. In Stardew Valley, it's water your potatoes, and then you don't, and then your potato crop dies. Your actions have consequences, and you see that happen rather than being told that that will happen. And I think that learning experience in itself is something utterly wonderful. Big thing 2, the straightforwardness. Okay, that's not a great title. I don't even think straightforwardness is a word, but we're going with it. The thing that makes the straightforwardness level of the game good is that it's varied. It's not just a single level of complexity throughout, it's varied. How do you get more ingots of this special metal to try and get a special item in the game? Oh, well, you have to wait for lightning to strike a Tesla coil, and then you get a battery pack, and then you get this, and then you get this. Oh, but how do you get potatoes? You just put some potatoes in the ground and you wait. That varied level of complexity is something that Stardew Valley does natively in the game, and it's incredibly good. The combat mechanics get more and more complicated, the harvesting mechanics get more and more different and complicated, and the watering mechanics, and etc, etc, etc. And you can automate processes, but the complexity remains varied. You keep getting surprised by things, it's brilliant. Big thing, the next one. 3. Characterful storytelling. What I haven't seen before in this style of game, where it's very sort of domestic oriented, is the characters in the town. Every single character in the town has wants and needs and desires, and they have an opinion of you. And if they don't like you, they'll tell you that they don't like you. They'll be rude to you. The point is that the characters in the town are interesting, fully fleshed out people, which is more than can be said for a lot of other games. That's 100% for sure. You can even get married to some of the characters in the village because of this mechanic where you can sort of get more and more friendly with people and give them gifts, etc, 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 and it builds. The characterful storytelling really comes in this one cutscene that I really like. It's quite early on in the game. Gus, who owns and runs the saloon in town, is in the cutscene, and the other guy that's in the cutscene is Linus, who's sort of a I was going to say castaway. That's not the word. He's sort of cast out of the town. Nobody really likes him very much. He sort of lives on the edge of town in a little tent, and he tells you this story when you first meet him about how before now people have taken his tent down. People are quite cruel to him and quite mean to him, and you gather, using context clues, that people don't like Linus. But he's always perfectly nice to you. You've got no reason to dislike him. Same goes for Gus. You've probably bought some food off him at some point. He's perfectly nice. What's not to love? There's a cutscene that plays, which I'm going to put a graphic on the screen somewhere, just a screenshot of the last thing, where Linus is digging through the bins, and Gus goes out to put stuff in the bin, or whatever it is, and Linus starts to run away, and Gus goes, whoa, 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 if you need any food, just ask me, because I don't want anybody in this town to go hungry. But it's something so very simple, but so very profound, that Stardew Valley just accomplishes. Just smashes through it, takes it in its stride, and keeps going, keeps delivering brilliant gameplay. Okay, these last two things are a bit more sort of gameplay mechanic oriented. So the first one is that you don't have to do anything. Personally, I adore farming in games. In Minecraft, in Farming Simulator, and this, I absolutely love just like planting seeds, watching them grow, harvesting them again, and then selling the crops. That's just a really wonderful thing for me. I enjoy gardening in real life for that reason. But you don't have to, if you don't want to. If you want to be like a monster slayer, adventurer, mega cool guy, then you can be. You can go and do that. There's an adventurers guild. You can go and do that if you want to. You can go and dig away in the mines forever and be that guy. It doesn't matter. It's what you choose to make it to be. And if you don't want to do something, you don't have to do it. This feeling of choice and open world, almost, is, I think, one of the defining things that makes Stardew Valley really, really great. The final big thing, fishing minigames. This started out as a bit of a joke I had with myself, that the only good games are games with the fishing minigames. And I thought, oh yeah, that's just a dumb joke, whatever. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, could that actually be true? You know that tool that you see in, like, I don't know, somebody's interviewing a cheesemonger, and they'll sort of skewer the cheese with that tool, twist it around and pull it back out again, and have a little sample of cheese, and they taste the cheese. I wondered, is there an equivalent of that for a game, if that makes sense? Is there something you can take out of the game, study it in isolation, and it's a good way to tell whether the game is good or not? you know? I believe that the fishing minigame is the thing that you should take out of a game to study in isolation that tells you how good that game is. If there's something which will tell you about how much love and care that I've put into a game, wouldn't it be the thing that you wouldn't expect anybody to play, you wouldn't expect anybody to look at, you wouldn't expect anybody to do? Don't the Easter eggs of a game sort of tell you something about the humanity of the people that made the game? I think a great fishing minigame is an example of that, essentially. In Stardew Valley, the fishing minigame is honestly a masterpiece. You cast out your line and a little meter comes up. I think I've got some footage of this, so I'll put it somewhere. A little meter comes up, and within the meter is a little bar and a little fish icon. And the fish icon goes up and down the meter, and the bar goes up and down the meter, but is controlled by you. If the fish is within the bar for long enough, you've caught the fish. That's the minigame. It's really simple, but it's really good. Because it gets more complicated with time. Once you've caught a few fish, your fishing rod might break, or you might think, oh, I wonder if there's a different way to get a fishing rod. So there's like a fishing shop. You can go and buy different types of rods and different types of bobbers and bait and stuff like that. And the bobbers themselves just make tiny little tweaks to the fishing minigame. Things like the bar that you're moving up and down moves slightly faster, or is slightly bigger, or doesn't bounce when it drops down and hits the bottom. Instead, it just thunk and hits the bottom. It's little things like that. So much care and so much attention went into just that little tiny thing that isn't even 1% of the game. What does that tell you about the rest of the game, right? How good is that?
I just think they're neat.
Okay, we're pressed for time. So we're gonna do a lightning round of the small things, and I believe in us. Okay, thing number one, combat mechanics. The combat mechanics are utterly fantastic. They, essentially, when you first go into the mines, you come across a guy called, what's his name? Marlon. And Marlon gives you like a rusty sword, and he sort of teaches you the basics, and he says like, okay, this is attacking, this is armor, this is how this works. There might be some monsters down there, good luck. And that's that, basically. And then as you progress through the mine, you sort of learn that you can get better tools, better armor, and in the end, you end up getting sort of specialized swords, either through buying them or unlocking them or finding them in chests in the environment. And it's a very personal growth. You've developed a fighting style, which is completely up to you. For example, I don't like to use projectile weapons in games very much, so I don't use them. Other people do. But in a way, that's sort of my point. You have this very personalized fighting style, which grows with time, and I think that's a very difficult thing to make your players cultivate, and it's just incredible the fact that they've managed to do it. And the real kicker is when you get to the bottom of the mine in the sort of town, you get this key, the skull key I think it is, and then you unlock the skull cavern in the desert sort of down the road. And you are introduced to completely new enemies that you have to fight in completely different ways. You die multiple times very quickly when you first meet the enemies. That's just the way it is. Because nobody's prepared you for this. Nobody's said, oh, by the way, in the desert, those guys are really pissed off, so, you know, wear some more armor or something. Nobody's prepared you. And then you learn, and then your fighting style adapts. And that's a really impressive thing to make your players do. I don't know how they do it, but it's amazing. Okay, lightning round isn't going very well, but small thing two, time sensitivity. Time passes in Stardew Valley, and you're very aware of it, because at 2 AM in the in-game time, you will just collapse. Doesn't matter if you're at home, if you're in the mines, if you're in a forest, if you're in the middle of town, you will just collapse. You're tired. It's the middle of the night. But then, you sort of, when you wake up in the morning, you'll receive a letter from either the local nightmare corporation or a friend that'll say some variation of, okay, we've got you home, and either somebody has stolen some money from you, or we have taken this money from you, we've billed you 1,000 money units because we took you home, sort of thing. So the fact that there's real consequences to being out and about late, it incentivizes you to use your time wisely without telling you use your time wisely. It's something you learn yourself. Okay, small thing, the final small thing, pixel art. I love it. I know that it's, this is a subjective thing, but I absolutely love it. I really like pixel art. I think it's simple, I think it's beautiful, I think it really works for the game. I cannot fault it at all. I love it. I love how there's sort of pixel characters that have pixel faces and pixel emotions, and I just think that's incredible. How do you do that with 16 pixels or whatever it is? Plus, the Stardew Valley cows, they are adorable, and if you don't agree with me, you are wrong. So, there you go. Okay, I think that is the end of my Big Things, Small Things seminar. Thank you for attending. To sort of bring it all together, Stardew Valley is a beautiful game with so many things in it that I absolutely adore. It's both complex and simple, it's varied and straightforward, it's so brilliant, it's sort of simple but beautiful, it's really, really good. I adore this game. If you haven't played it, do. I have it on my Switch. I can't remember how much it cost me. I don't think it was more than 20 quid, it might have been about 15 quid I think. And it was really, really good. You can get it on PC, you can get it on Switches, all sorts of things, it's really good. I do genuinely think it's the best game ever. I know that this is like some stupid video I'm making for the internet, but I genuinely believe Stardew Valley to be the best game ever. Well, Dan, clearly I am completely correct. Prove me wrong.
War never changes. You got what you were after, so pay up.
You're crying in the rain, Pally.
Guess who's waking up over here?
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig? You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ, how fucking cool was that? Do you know how long that took me? That took me an insane amount of time. But anyway, Fallout New Vegas is a first-person role-playing game / shooter, and it's a game that I think really has something for everyone. You've got great combat, you've got engaging quests, you've got an excellent storyline. But, as I'm sure Lewis has made it abundantly clear at one point or another in his video, or in the podcast in general, we don't actually play a lot of video games. So why are we making a big fuck-off video about which out of the thousands and thousands of video games that there have been, which one is the greatest of all time? Huh? I don't know, we had a list of shit that we were going to do and we just decided... to go with this, so here we are. So I'm not going to talk about the VAT system or, you know, how the guns work and all that. You know, you can go to H-Bomber Guy's video for that, as I'm sure that Lewis will bring up later on. That completely ripped him off. The two main things that I'm going to be talking about are player autonomy and the politics of the game. And if the second one sounds boring, I don't give a fuck. So, player autonomy. Not only in this game can you sort of interact and engage with most, you know, parts of the wasteland, every single eventuality that triggers the end game is directly because of you, and I mean absolutely everything. With most narrative games that have like an open world, they'll give you like the illusion of freedom. Like GTA, for example. Sure, you can drive around and do as you please, and while it is certainly fun to kill all in your path, you, as a player, are essentially a puppet to the narrative and the game's version of the FBI. You do get to choose who you're going to kill at the end, which is good, but it's not really you making the choice, is it? It's a character that you're animating making the choice. New Vegas, on the other hand, doesn't just employ the character creation option where, you know, you can make the character your own. The only thing that can't change is your job title, but anything other than that, you can choose whoever you want to be. But also, the world around you can also impact the character that you've chosen to create. For example, a faction in the game, Caesar's Legion, a horrible fascist fucking shite state, it has an arena that the player can fight in, where you'll fight like the Legion's prisoners and stuff like that. But if you play as a female courier, a female character, you will never be allowed to play in the arena, and this is because of the Legion's views on women, which are fucking disgusting. And it doesn't even matter how high a reputation you get with the Legion, they will never ever let you play in the arena if you're a woman. And now the policy is fucking disgusting, but the fact that, you know, it's the environment around you affecting you, and it makes you feel as if you've got a real stake in the world, and that can certainly inform your choice in which faction you choose at the end, which is pretty fucking cool, the fact that you get to do that. Oh, almost forgot to mention, you can kill anyone in the game. I mean, absolutely anyone. Anyone that you come across, you can just wipe them out. Want to kill Caesar? Me too. Want to assassinate the president of the NCR? Oh, absolutely. Want to kill the robot dead/zombie man that controls New Vegas? Knock yourself out. You can literally kill anyone in the game, and it's maybe not the best way to engage with the story, but I mean, giving someone that level of control over their life makes you feel that you live in this world, and it's really quite, you know, amazing. I've never played another game like it, to be honest, in the sense of total control and trying to give the player as much autonomy as possible, because it's a double-edged sword. Autonomy is great, but you also get the consequences of it. Like, if you attack the Legion, they will then attack you later on. Actual groups of Legion soldiers will show up and attack you, because, you know, in real life, if you attack a major horrible nationalist fascist faction, you're gonna get people coming after you, and it's autonomy but also consequence, which makes it feel more real and you engage better with the role playing. The point of the game, in my opinion, is politics and being forced to make choices in a narrative sort of sandbox. The main game has 3 factions competing for control of the Mojave Wasteland. There are other factions, but these are the 3 main ones, all of which have pros and cons. The new California Republic is by far the closest thing to a functioning government akin to the nations before nuclear bombs destroyed the world. The reason they're in the Mojave is a territorial expansion. The Republic is the main faction that still has democracy, equal rights for women, and certainly, at first glance, seems like the fairest power in the wasteland. But it's made clear that the current version of the NCR is rife with corruption and is a shadow of its former self. We see throughout the game that the territorial expansion in the Mojave is largely without choice, and a significant number of towns are annexed. It seems that a great strain of imperialism is embedded in the NCR, which was one of the biggest reasons for the apocalypse in the first place, via the proxy wars with the US and China. It's easy to see why the Legion is arguably the worst choice for the Mojave. It's a totalitarian, fascist, nationalist tribe that gained its power by utterly destroying 86 smaller ones. It uses slaves for its work and treats women as second-class citizens, and all individuals are cells for the organism of the state. And yet, there is a conversation that you can have with Caesar that is largely responsible for much of the Legion's support. I'm not going to play all of it. In fact, I'm not going to play any of it. I'm going to do a bad impression of it. But there's one paragraph that Caesar says that could probably be described as the best argument as to why you would ever think of joining Caesar's Legion. Rome was a highly militarized autocracy that effectively integrated the foreign cultures it conquered. It dedicated its citizens to something higher than themselves, to the idea of Rome itself. In Rome, I found a template for a society equal to the challenges of the post-apocalyptic world. A society that could and would survive. Caesar, or his real name, Edward Sallow, has chosen to model his society that essentially started from nothing and lasted a very long time. So, from the goal of simply making humanity viable, one could argue it's for the greater good that a tried and tested civilization leads the way. But it's then arguable that Rome led to the societies that caused nuclear annihilation. It's just the fact that these thought experiments can be had in a video game is what makes it worthwhile. Robert Edwin House is the CEO of the New Vegas Strip and is also over 200 years old. Before the Armageddon, he was the founder of Robco Industries and is responsible for the many robots you see in the game, as well as the technological progress of America before the war. Another dictator in the wasteland with a libertarian spin, seeing his subjects as employees and wants control of the wasteland with the goal of progress at the helm. Instead of a dictator, he styles himself as an autocrat that cares not for what people do in their free time or legislating behaviour. He will treat humanity as a company instead of relying on elected representatives because, as he says, if you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows. Which sounds shite. It seems to me that the politics of this game are much like our own, actually. I mean, we don't obviously have fucking people dressing up as Romans and going about destroying things, but it's much the same in the sense that it's not really who's the best choice for the job. It's really who's not the shitest, you know? I mean, anytime I take part in an election, I'm not like, yeah, that's the candidate for me. It's just okay, which of these absolute shiters do I need to choose? And I think that the fact that a game can exist where you can actually genuinely be challenged and make moral decisions is pretty fucking cool. And this came out in 2010. It took 18 months to make, and there hasn't been a game that surpassed it. Certainly not Stardew Valley or whatever the fuck that fucking game is that Lewis was reviewing. I'm obviously a bit biased, but just fucking it came out in 2010. What's taking so long? do the I've got a thing. Right, okay, bring on the closing bit. Do the closing bit, title screen thing. Yep, thank you. So, you made it to the end of the video, huh, kid? I bet you ran into an 18-carat run of bad luck now that the video's over, huh? I ain't a fink. Dig. I bought this on eBay for this specific thing, and I couldn't even have the fucking decency to go on to the wiki page or whatever and look up the dialogue and replace it cleverly with stuff that had to do with the podcast. Look, I put that wheel there. I put the wheel of bullshit there for this specific purpose, and I'm not even going to use it. It's just yet another fucking diatribe of me going into some weird meta rant, as if that's somehow impressive. Every fucker is doing that nowadays. Every single YouTuber, every single film. Oh my god, look, he's breaking the fourth wall and talking to us. Shakespeare did that, and I'm copying a guy who's been dead for hundreds of years. That was Fallout New Vegas. Here's the epic exit. I was right, Lewis. You were wrong. End of story. There you go. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Well, Danny, I think I have conclusively and utterly proved you entirely wrong there.
No, you definitely do. I mean, I admire the editing skills, but I mean, it's not really my cup of tea. If I have to be honest, your arguments were poor. They were poorly substantiated. No idea what was going on with the wall behind you.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
I didn't like the colour. Never been a fan.
From my personal experience, I think that your video was a complete rip-off of H Bomber Guy's video.
How fucking dare? How do you know that? I definitely did not steal my aesthetics from popular YouTuber ContraPoints in any way whatsoever. And anyone that says I did is wrong.
Yes, because what we say is objectively fact.
Yeah, even when we disagree, both opinions are simultaneously fact at the same time.
Yes, exactly. It's like 1984. It's what's it called? Double truth. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Well, we're not really gonna be able to convince each other. But what do you think, folks? What do you think is the greatest game of all time? It has to be one of those two. Don't fucking come in with your own thing. We don't have time to be making.
I swear to God, if somebody comes in and says, "I think Cupheads is the best game of all time," I will cry, because it's not what Danny said and it's not what I said. So it can't be the greatest film of all time.
I'm a big fan of the cult classic Candy Crush.
A little-known indie game, Candy Crush. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm a big fan of those, not the actual game townscapes, homescapes, but just those mini games that come up when you're playing a mobile game, and a pop-up ad appears, and it's like, do you want to throw the butler into lava, or do you want to get him eaten by a shark? I'm a big fan of those. They're great.
I'm just looking at the countdown, like the little circle that indicates when I get to click off and continue playing Jetpack Joyride.
You're just like, I want to press the X. I don't want to watch this advert.
Well, folks, this was something a bit different.
Yes.
Depending on how successful it is, we may carry on or we may go back to our old format. But I certainly enjoyed doing it.
Yes, I enjoyed doing it too, because obviously this takes us longer to do, so it means we can take more time with it, take more care. Yep. I can actually make structured arguments rather than just talking out my arse.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, should we do some cheeky shilling?
Yeah, go on.
Well.
Chill. Treat yourself.
Yep. I'm not going to say the patrons, because we're going to have a nice cool thing at the end with some music with their names coming down, so that'll be fun.
Nice. I'd like it to be some sort of disco party music, please. Can I request that?
I'll try. See what's on my music folder. Okay, so We all have Linktrees.
We do.
Lewis's Linktree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine's is /O'Hiram, and the podcast's is /Shouting into the Void. We have all our socials on there, our YouTube, our Instagrams. Go have a look, see what you like. We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all, would be greatly, greatly appreciated. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell hundreds of tacky shit that's greatly overpriced. And, go get yourself something.
Yeah, we sell really terrible merch. Go and get it. It's terrible. It's shit.
We don't even make it.
Imagine if we did have to, like, make merch to sell it.
Yeah, imagine if we had to make the things we sell. Imagine we had to make the things we sell. But anyway... And last but certainly not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which she crochets, and she's very, very good at it. If you would like to check out what's going on in the world of crochet and my house, I guess, you can go to @Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram, and you can check it out. She's got lots of interesting things going on. Lots of cool things, lots of interesting things, lots of spicy things, lots of rainy things. I'm trying to think of different weather conditions that I can apply to social media posts.
Spicy? What?
Yeah. I think when you walk outside sometimes you're like, oh, it's a spicy day today.
I've never said that in my adult life.
I see. I almost certainly have. Not recently, because it's rainy as fuck. But
Yeah.
but anyway, go and check out @Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram.
Yes, please do. Well, that was the Hillock of bullshit.
It was indeed.
Yeah, we may come up with, like, we may challenge ourselves if we do this again and come up with a different name for the size of the bullshit.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Depending on the size of the video. Maybe we need like a graduated scale. So
Yeah.
if the videos, I don't know how long this video is, but for videos between, I don't know, say this is 20 to 25 minutes long or something. Say if the video is between 20 and 30 minutes, it's a hillock. If it's between 31 and 40, it's a mound. If it's between 41 and 50, it's a hill. That's a straight up hill. I don't know, yeah. And then I think you go up from there. A mountain, a tableau.
A Corbett.
A what?
A Monroe.
I don't know what either of those words mean.
They're just classifications of sort of mountains.
Oh, I see.
A planet of bullshit.
Yeah, and if it gets to about 4 hours long, that's the Everest of bullshit.
Wait, so Everest is bigger than planet? Like, what?
Yeah, okay, good point.
Well, I'm sure we'll figure all that out. But thank you for watching / listening. And
yes, thank you.
We will hear you, see you, smell you. Do this again, hopefully, next time. And here's the amazing disco music that Lewis requested.
Woo! Did you like that? That was good.
I did. We've transitioned now, Lewis, into the Patreon thing.
Okay, we'll now start making albums.
Maybe our voice could still be playing. Maybe I'll just keep our voices playing.
Keep this nonsense.
Yeah. I might cut it. I'll probably cut it out.
Yeah.
It's probably...
Either way, thank you very much to our patrons.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. You make the podcast possible. You make us...
you keep the lights on at Void Towers, and you allow us to make slightly experimental things like this. And it means the world that you allow us to do that. So thank you very much. If you would like to join their esteemed ranks and get access to the Patreon-only channels on our Discord server, you can go to patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid. You'll find all sorts of stuff going on there. You can check it out.
Imagine I cut this out. That would be lit. Imagine I just cut it out. It's like we've transitioned just into the... That would have been funny. But,
that would be funny.
Yeah, the names are almost certainly gone now. It's probably just a black screen.
Only die-hard fans are just watching like, what the fuck is going on? I was watching a YouTube video and now it's just two idiots talking.
Yeah, well, I'm putting an end to the nonsense. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, one and all.
We'll see you next time.
Indeed we will. See you then. Thank you.
Fuck off.